12.
Is it day 12? It's Tom and Sandy Corrigan.
This is day 12.
Of Live Unshakable. I was thinking it was June 11th, but you're right, it's June 12th.
Of the Live Unshakable 30-day challenge. And here we are, talk to you. We're talking each day about either our bodies, our soul, or our spirit, so that we can all work towards and come into agreement with God's plan to keep us all in alignment with His plan for us and our best life.
Yeah, so today we wanted to talk about something that probably everybody has some experience with, and that's inflammation. So we're really talking about body today. However, there is a lot of overlap in terms of things like inflammation, like stress. So we could hang around like really negative people and have more stress, and that adds to inflammation. But mostly we're talking about in the body, like our physical self. And so we want to talk about some reasons why you maybe experience inflammation.
That's right. I want to say hi to a couple of people. Hey, Laura. Hi, Heather.
Hey, Danny. So we're on two phones. So we have Tom's audience and my audience, even though some of that's crossover, so that we can impact more people. We do have a goal to impact 1 million people to live more unshakable and be healthy in body, soul, and spirit. So we're going to jump in and talk about 5 reasons that you may be experiencing inflammation. And last year,
let's talk first about what is inflammation.
Well, I was gonna say something first.
Well, please do.
See, we don't have this perfectly choreographed. You guys you get us real and unedited. But what I was gonna say before we jump into what is inflammation is, last year on our journey, part of what happened on the journey is I decided that I wanted to become a health coach. And so I signed up for Dr. Eric Berg's health coaching program, which was comprehensive, and I became a certified health coach. But what's funny is, because I made Tom watch most of the videos with me, he doesn't have the certificate.
He invited me to.
Yeah. I said, listen to this.
If I didn't, you sure hounded me down to make me listen to something. Yeah, right. Because it was exciting and informative, and it answered so many questions that we had had for years.
Yeah, and instead of watching TV, a lot of nights we watched one of the videos. So
hey, Kathy.
I'm sorry you don't have a certificate, babe, but so the information, some of the information that we're going to provide for you is from that course, and also other books and other functional medicine doctors that we listen to. And so we want to bring you the things that we're reading and learning. So let's talk about what is inflammation.
So the other day, we have a puppy, and she scratched me, and I look at my arm, and I've got a red spot around it, inflammation. So we have what's called an innate immune system, which means that as soon as there's an attack through an opening that's not supposed to be there, the body reacts. So our innate system works through all of our mouth, our ears, our nose,
all of our organs,
and our skin, and it generally just squelches most attackers. Bacteria comes in even through food, unless it's like a real high level. It just the stomach acid kills it off. But it's really good to have this red spot. It's a little warm because it means that the body is attacking unhealthy cells that would otherwise set up, headquarters on my arm and try to take over. The bad side of inflammation.
So a little inflation
is important,
is actually
and
important
is
to fight off disease, right?
Exactly, and it's meant to do that.
So one of the first causes, something I found really interesting, are food allergies. And don't think we're going to send you to a doctor to have expensive tests for food allergies. I mean, you could do that. I actually went through a test like that, and they told me I had no allergies. And I don't know how good those tests are, because I do have some sensitivities or allergies to things. And so one of the ways that you could do that is to journal. And so you don't have to carry a separate notebook. You most likely have a place that you can take notes on your phone. But the idea is that every time you eat something, just see how you feel afterwards. So, for instance, you might eat citrus and you might find you don't feel that great. Like maybe you have some pain, or maybe you have kind of a stomach ache, or your body just doesn't feel that great.
Feel sluggish.
Or nightshades, which are mushrooms and peppers and foods like that, and you can Google a list of nightshades, or maybe I'll Google a list of nightshades and stick them on the Live Unshakable Facebook site for you. Can cause problems for some people. I love tomatoes and tomato sauce, but every time I eat them, the next day I experience like canker sores in my mouth, and I've got to take lysine to get rid of them. Now, I'll still have tomatoes because I like them, but obviously my body is sensitive to citrus and acidic things. So I just have to know that I'm creating some inflammation in my body when I eat those kinds of foods. So some of it's just an awareness thing, that if you don't feel great after you eat something, that's probably a pretty good indication that you're creating your own inflammation in your body by eating those foods.
All right, so let's loop back to Sandy's suggestion. Take out your notes. You know, if you want to write it down on paper, great. But every time you eat something for 2 weeks, just jot it down. You know, here's today's date: tomatoes, mushrooms, cucumber, steak. You know, whatever it is you're eating.
Yeah.
Jot it down. Doesn't have to be elaborate. Just a couple words, and then start paying attention to how you feel, because your body will tell you if it doesn't like something.
And it'll tell you fairly quickly. So, you know, there may be a little bit more time span than others, but usually your food digests, you know, in the first 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to notice. Sometimes it's even quicker. You'll notice, am I tired? Do I have more energy? Do I have less energy? Do I have a craving for something? You know, do I want more? Am I not satiated? So keep track of those kind of things. Does my mood change? Like, you actually feel happier or sadder? Because foods really are medicine, and they affect us in our nutrition.
There are several seasonings. They're usually combinations that if I use them on food, I mean, by the time I'm in the middle of a meal, my nose starts running. My sinuses just start dumping. I'm going, okay, happens
really
once.
Unattractive while you're eating.
Happens twice. But after that, it's like, okay, I got something going on here. My body is reacting to something I'm putting into it and saying, stop it. And so if I cooperate with my body, I feel better and my life is better.
The second thing are hormones, and there are a couple that I want to talk about. One is our adrenal gland, and our adrenal gland is the thing that produces cortisol. And cortisol is, we want some cortisol, like when doctors give you prednisone, that's like
Cortisol.
It's cortisol, it's an anti-inflammatory. So you want some so that your body provides its own natural anti-inflammatory. But if you have too much or too little, the body's out of balance. And the number one thing that affects cortisol is stress and not sleeping. So, but they're really related. So can you get enough sleep every night? And no one can convince me, and no one will convince anyone medically, that you can live on 4 hours of sleep. You have to have more sleep. And typically most people need between 7 to 9. And good sleep, not interrupted sleep. Now some of you know, Tom's kind of a 6-hour person.
I'm actually 6.5 or
6 to
7.
7.
Works best for me. And I'm usually in bed about 10 o'clock
And asleep.
And
Like,
30
gone.
seconds
He
later
goes, I'm going away,
gone.
and literally gone.
And then I haven't used an alarm clock in years and years, and I wake up around 5 o'clock. Sometimes I can convince myself to snooze for a little while, but typically it's 10 to 5. Bam, I'm done, I'm up, I'm wide awake, I'm wired, I'm ready to go.
So sleep's really important to the right cortisol balance, and also
Hi, Wendy.
stress. So let me talk about stress for a minute.
And Debbie, hey.
And Melissa, because people talk about managing our stress, and I like to think about, when I think about managing my stress, I think about my choice in how I respond to stress. So we're all going to have stress. In fact, in the gym or working out, if we didn't have stress, we'd never build muscle. So a little bit of stress can actually help us perform well. In fact, there's a TED Talk, I'm going to find that TED Talk, where the woman who was a psychologist talked about how stress can help us, like the right amount of stress and the right way to think about stress, and post that for you. And I'm going to take a drink of water because I got some dust from being outside, I think, with the baby horse today. You want to think about your choice in how you respond to stress. So like, let's say something bad happens. We talked about this on another Facebook Live the other night. And you decide to get really upset about it. Like you're just freaking out about it. And you start talking to everybody about how stressful, and you're rehearsing this whole dramatic stress thing. You're going to feel more stressful. So one of my techniques when something shocking happens or bad happens is I like to wait, or I like to pause. And I like to say nothing. Like don't process right away. But to just kind of breathe and think about that I have a choice in responding. Now, I might call someone like Tom, or I might call somebody who's calm and who doesn't add to my drama and say, can I work through something that just happened, so that I'm partnering with God and somebody that God has made that is calm to be able to work through it. But just because I feel like a shock in my body or a surprise in my body or something negative doesn't mean I have to dwell on it or go with it. Or that I have to get in a conversation with a bunch of people who love drama, and now we just can heighten it to the nth degree, and that's not going to help my cortisol production.
So it's interesting. The whole drama effect, I think, is fairly new. I'm looking back over my life and considering. Clearly, my father and mother grew up and lived through and served in the Army. A world war. There was plenty of drama and plenty of stress.
And that's a lot of stress.
And I saw them stress out over certain things, but it wasn't self-induced. Like so much of the drama that happens nowadays, I think a lot of it happens through social media. There's so little that can really be communicated in social media and even less in text. And so we've raised 4 daughters. We have a 21-year-old granddaughter and a couple of little guys. And I've watched all of them get into spats and conversation arguments with friends or other people on social media and just get shook.
Or over text.
Right, and like for days. Because somebody said something via text. And I just said, you have no context, and you really don't, you're misunderstanding probably because you're making stuff up, and you're making bad stuff up rather than good stuff.
And get face to face, or at least get on the phone and have a conversation.
Pick up the phone.
If it's a relationship thing.
And so if you want the relationship, you have to take steps to reduce your drama and consequently reduce the stress that you're inviting, surrounding yourself with. And in some cases, you may need to make some changes regarding the people that are around you that are drama queens and kings, because there's both.
And also, I like to create my own atmosphere. So one of the things is I like certain scents, or I like flowers around me. I like music, jazz music or worship music playing in the background. I like a nice environment, and so I can create that.
I like to smell a motorcycle.
Yeah, right. Or horse poop. I have to tell you that having horses has definitely made me a calmer, slower, more aware, more peaceful, more conscious person, because they're so sensitive that if I'm not those things, and especially now that we have a protective mommy and a new baby, like we were in the paddock with her today, and typically we've been going in and tying her up and doing the stuff we have to with the baby, and you can tell she's kind of freaked out, but we have a great trust relationship. And so today when we let them out in the paddock, we're just both out there, and at one point I'll have to post a video. The baby, we still don't have a name. We're still tossing around. Beautiful baby boy right now, BBB, came up and started, licking our hands and letting us scratch him. And Camilla, mommy, was right there. She was eating some hay. But this was the first time that she was very relaxed. And she was like, okay, you guys kind of play with the baby, but then I always get him back. And we have to move slowly. And
a couple of times she put herself between us and the baby, just because she had a concern.
Because that's her job, right? As
it was, but it wasn't dramatic. And and overall, she knew that she could trust us. So we named our property, our ranch, Sanctuary Ranch. And it goes without saying that the subtitle on that is drama-free property. We just don't invite it, and we do everything we can to squelch it. And not fighting against drama, because then you're being dramatic, but just releasing peace and choosing to be at peace. And we innately get to walk in peace. You don't have to walk in drama all the time. So if you find yourself stressed out all the time or caught in drama, you may be the common denominator there, and you want to take a look. And it's not hard to step back into peace. Now, so think about what kind of things bring you to a sense of peace.
And could you bring those to your environment? So
right.
Could you bring those to your workplace? Could you bring those to your home, to your family? Could you be known as the person? We've had people say, I don't know, there's something about like when you guys walk in or when I come to your home that it's very peaceful. And we're not perfect at this, believe me.
Nope.
We have our like
always a work in progress
moments or our short moments with each other or whatever. But we want to steward peace and sanctuary because so much good can come out of that. And so we've talked
we practice it all the time.
And stress
we walk into environments and I go, I'm going to carry peace. I say this to myself, I'm going to carry peace into this scenario. I sense the stress that's going on here. God has made us to walk in peace. It is a gift to us if we'll accept it and walk in it. It says that the outcome of our interaction with the Holy Spirit of God is right standing, peace, and joy. If I go onto an airplane and I sense people who are kind of ragged, I just say to myself, just be at peace, everybody. Because I am, and I'm not dying today, and we're going to have a great flight.
So,
that's not about me bragging. It's not because I got some kind of giant ego. I just know who goes with me. And so I'm willing to sow that like birdseed, through the plane.
Right. So we want to carry that energy of peace.
Yep.
And along with, so we're talking about inflammation today and things that can create inflammation and hormones. So cortisol and the stress hormone can create inflammation. And the second one is insulin resistance. So insulin resistance, basically, here's the big cure. Stop eating sugar and processed carbohydrates.
Why is that?
Cookies, pasta, bread, crackers, cereal, pancakes, waffles,
French toast.
Candy. I said candy, right? So sugar spikes insulin. So every time we eat sugar or things that have a high insulin or high glycemic, they're not the same thing. I'll say high insulin index. In fact, I posted on the Live Unshakable site the insulin index so you can see what foods spike your blood sugar, and that makes the body have to work hard. So when you're resistant to the insulin, so just think about this. We're spiking blood sugar. Now we're resistant to the insulin, which is trying to lower the blood sugar. Inflammation forms. And it is really becoming known that sugar, more than anything else, and sugar in our foods, and especially processed foods, are probably the biggest cause of underlying disease.
Soft drinks are a killer. I mean, they're almost going to guarantee to stir up inflammation in your body because there's such a high sugar count. And now you add the super drinks, the ones that have high levels of caffeine and super levels of sugar, and you're just making yourself sick. You're guaranteeing yourself. So we have a business partner, Joe Wood, and we were over doing work together, and said, let's go grab some breakfast. And we live in a very small town. There's only a couple restaurants, and only one of them was serving breakfast because the other ones were closed on Monday. And so we went in and sat down, and they handed us a one-page, two-sided menu. And I looked at Joe, and he's trying to learn how to do all this stuff. And I said, so look at the menu and tell me what you think. And he goes, they're very different. And I said, yeah, they are. What's the difference? He goes, one side has my go-to stuff.
Which was like French toast and pancakes.
And sausage gravy and all kind of stuff. And the other side was all basically made with eggs and
protein,
some meat you could add, some proteins, vegetables. A lot of vegetables. And some really nice varieties. And I said, what do you want to order? He goes, well, I want to order this caramel French toast because I know it's going to be good. He said, but now thinking about it, I said, let's just talk about the outcome of that. You're going to end up with a sugar crash here in a short while. Your brain's going to get foggy. Your body's going to slow down. You might end up hurting because of inflammation. Or you can feed yourself some really good food. So I said, consider this. Think about it as fuel. The stuff on one side is jet fuel. On the other side, you got regular gas, or even worse, your car will run on kerosene for a short while. Some of that stuff is like dumping kerosene in your motor, and it's not going to work well for you. And he goes, wow, I never thought of it that way. Of course I want to put jet fuel in. I said, well, good choice.
So Laura said, so no more fresh peas. And I'm thinking, Laura, because they're higher in carbs and a higher insulin index, but they're a whole food. They're a fresh food. They're not a processed food. So you can have some fresh peas.
Absolutely.
And you can, we're not, people are like, oh, you're totally keto. You never have any carbs. That's not true. We like whole fresh foods. We do eat things like healthy grains. We do eat sweet potatoes. We do eat, fall squash. I mean, those are all carbs. And, so we do have those kinds of things in our diet. I don't have those as much because I'm still working on losing the last 18 pounds. And Tom is not losing any more. Tom is not losing any more weight, and so he ends up putting more carbs into his diet, and his metabolism can take that. So Laura says, but you all forgot about the people who are allergic to eggs. So how would you eat breakfast? Okay, so you don't have to eat eggs for breakfast. I mean, eggs are a great source of protein, but if you're allergic to eggs, a nice breakfast are things that you could have a salad for breakfast. You could have sauteed vegetables for breakfast and a protein. You could have some yummy vegetables and healthy fats. Healthy fats would be like olives, a handful of macadamia nuts or cashews.
There's some days I eat cereals.
Yeah.
Right?
So you could do, like, we buy a cereal from Julian Bakery that is...
That's Julian, Julian.
And we don't get paid for promoting the stuff we use.
We just want to promote good stuff.
I think it has 24 grams of protein and like 2 net grams of carbs. So it's
really good
real
stuff
crunchy.
in it.
It's yummy with almond coconut milk. I mean, you have a really hearty, yummy cereal. You don't have to eat very much.
I love throwing a big fat handful of blueberries on it because blueberries actually work against inflammation. They are one of the best ways to fight inflammation is eat blueberries.
So are cranberries, so are pomegranates. And you can even get some juices. And again, you want to look at the sugars and things, but you can even get some juices that don't have a lot of processed sugar and then just sweeten those with erythritol or monk fruit or stevia. And all those kind of things are natural anti-inflammatories. Hey, Sam. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Karen. Who else is watching here today? So the third thing is your gallbladder. So this was really interesting to me when I went through my health coach certification with Dr. Berg. If you have right side pain, so if like your shoulder hurts or your elbow or your hand or your knee or anything on the right side, unless it's an injury, it's typically gallbladder related. So one of the things that we learned were acupressure techniques. And did you know that if you have a pain on your right side, so this will kind of go in with gallbladder and old injuries, but let's just talk about gallbladder for a minute. If you, like sometimes my right side would hurt with certain foods, and that's my gallbladder. And so I would go to the mirror image on the other side of my body, so on the left side, and I would gently massage that side, not the gallbladder side, the other side, and I would all of a sudden relieve any pain I was having on the right side.
And Sandy first told me about this. I
Tom's
went,
like, come on.
God, get out. I mean, think about it. It's almost ridiculous.
Yeah.
Until I had some kind of pain, and she said, try this, and I did, and it stopped within 30 seconds.
Yep.
And
And
I went, oh, hello.
And the same with old injuries. So if you have like an old injury in an area, massage or work on the mirror image of the opposite side. So if like your ankle, if you had an ankle injury, there can still be inflammation there from that injury, and you work on the other side. And it's because, the meridians of the body are balanced. And what you'll often find if you do acupressure on that other side is you'll find a tender spot. You're like, wait a minute, my right ankle's the one that's injured, but I've got this really tender spot on my left. And what you're doing is you're actually releasing, right, the endorphins and the healing properties in that side of your body to affect the other side. We had a woman here on Sunday night. We had a worship group here. We had a group, and we decided to worship and eat together and do our stuff. And she's a violinist, and she had surgery on her hand for skin cancer. But there was this part by her wrist, just kind of like right in here that really bothered her. And so we prayed for her, but I also said, can I massage this part of your body so you don't have to use your hand that's hurting to do that? And like just in a few minutes, she goes, wow, it's like 80% better. And then the next day on Monday, she texted me and she goes, it's like 100% better. And I said, there really is, we're so uniquely designed by
Right.
God. We're so uniquely how our bodies are made. And so sometimes you can't maybe reach a part of your body that's hurting. So, have somebody in your life that you trust massage that area that maybe, like sometimes my shoulder blade, I can't just reach the area on the one side, and I'll say to Tom, just like right here. And it's a great way to release inflammation in your body.
So I hope you heard that. I rarely get headaches anymore. I mean, it's amazing how few headaches I get compared to what I was getting when I was eating differently. But if I do get a headache, I'm taking a couple of Tylenol and I'm praying for myself. And to be honest, I don't care what makes the pain go away. I just want the pain to stop. So it's the double shotgun approach, so to speak.
But I've noticed, because Tom was like all the time, like working on his neck, or can you rub my neck? You hardly ever ask me to do that anymore since you've cut sugar out and processed foods. Like,
and
it's
interestingly,
because he had inflammation there. And what did your doctor tell you about that?
My former doctor said, yeah, Tom, you have inflammation there. You probably have some arthritis. You're getting older.
Like it's like a given that we have to feel
said,
bad.
What exactly does older mean? And he became very PC at that point in time because he realized he put his foot deep in stuff.
Did he tell you, like in your age category?
Yeah, he said, you have to understand, somebody in your age category. I said, age category, huh? I said, what exactly would that be? And so the conversation got cut short, which was great because as much as I love and appreciate doctors, this guy was not helping me any. He was just saying, put up with it.
Or just medicate it, right?
Yeah,
like he wasn't really
I'll give you some more meds.
Cure.
But we chose a different route, and just by getting rid of sugar and adjusting a few other things and making sure I'm sleeping. I don't have crunchy neck anymore. I mean, you could hear it across the room.
In fact, you were getting cortisone shots and stuff for a while.
Till several years ago, they were putting it right in my spine, trying to address all this.
But nobody ever said, let's talk
what are you
about
eating?
Your
Not
diet,
once.
Your nutrition.
Not
ever.
one time. And I think it's primarily ignorance on the medical field because they're not trained on nutrition. And if you ask them, they'll say, in all of my training, the hundreds of hours, I probably got 6 to 10 hours of training in nutrition. Insufficient because eating and breathing and drinking water is something we're going to do every day. and that's across the population. So you would think that we would pay more attention to what it is we're putting into our body. So I just want to challenge you and heighten your awareness that the fuel that you're feeding yourself is either fueling yourself towards good or towards
inflammation, and pain, and disease.
Right.
And it's your choice,
and
right?
you do have a choice.
And people say, well, I just can't quit eating this. And, one of the things that we have found is that by eating healthier, you might have 3 days of a detox when you really, really decide not to eat sugar, or it might take a week, but it doesn't really take that long for you to start feeling better and curb your own cravings. So we'll continue to give you tips.
Can I get honest with you for just a minute?
Well, we've been honest the whole time.
I mean, can I get really
vulnerable? You mean?
Yeah. Can I get really honest and get in your stuff for just a second? You can nod your head. You don't even have to say yes. So
say yes on the.
That's right. So here's what I want
Tim
to tell
and
you.
Don and Sam and.
When people say to me, "I can't stop eating sugar," that's acceptable for our little grandsons who are 5 and under, somewhat. But my response to them is that you can't or you won't. And again, there's no shame or guilt, and that's not what this is about. But it's kind of a wake-up call, and what we're trying to do is challenge people and wake you up to know that the stuff that you are addicted to, and a lot of us have been addicted to sugar, is killing us. It's feeding disease. It is fueling diabetes. It is fueling cancer.
Heart disease.
And we don't have to do that.
Stroke.
It's just our choice.
So we want to
on a lighter note.
Yeah, and we want to help you with that. So we've, if you go to T30, so the letter T, 30.liveunshakable.com, so T30.liveunshakable.com, we actually have a chart, a nice, beautifully done PDF with pictures that are foods to eat and foods to avoid. I call them poison foods because they're the foods that create disease and inflammation. And it's free to you. And we also have some affirmations, some daily affirmations, and scripture that also goes with it. And then for a $7 upgrade, there's an exercise piece as well as recorded affirmations in that piece. And then on our Live Unshakable page, we've posted recipes. We're continuing to post recipes. So we're not saying don't ever have ice cream or don't ever have something sweet. We just are posting recipes for how to make it in a way that isn't harmful to your body. I made this really delicious, so I took this blueberry muffin recipe that I made with grass-fed butter and eggs and almond flour and blueberries, and it turned out kind of like a pound cake. It was really nice and dense. And then we took fresh berries, because fresh berries are a fruit that don't spike insulin. So we did blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries. And then I made coconut cream. And all coconut cream is you buy the coconut milk in a can. It's best to chill it in the fridge, and then you drain off the real liquidy stuff, and you just mix it, and it mixes up like a whipped cream. And then I used monk fruit. So monk fruit tastes just like sugar. It doesn't have an aftertaste like a lot of sugar alcohol has. And so I warmed up the blueberry pound cake, and I put you're making
me hungry right now.
I gotta make that tomorrow. And then put the berries and the coconut cream on, and served it to guests, and they're like, "There's no way this is healthy, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's got all healthy stuff in it, and it's delicious. In fact, you can make great ice cream with coconut cream or even whipping cream and a sugar substitute and fruits, and you could even put stevia chocolate chips and natural peanut butter in, and I mean you can make delicious stuff. So it's just learning how to prepare your food so that it's not spiking your insulin, and it's healthy, and it's not creating inflammation in your body.
We want to help you think about food differently
and make it easy. We're trying to make it easy.
Yeah. So I had to go to the store, and we have two in our town.
With a big Walmart and a small Safeway. But we're close. We're Tom makes it sound like we're in the middle of Kansas, and we're 20 minutes to every other thing you can.
Right. But I'm just saying, in our little town, so I ran and got my stuff, and I avoided most of the middle shelves. I tried to.
I'm waving to people. Hey, Ron. Hey, Eric. Hey, Mandy.
I try to do my shopping on the outer edge of the supermarket because very little stuff is processed out there. And I'm walking to the cashier, and there's my favorite candy in the world.
Guess what it is?
Calling my name. I hear it saying, "Eat me, eat me, buy a dozen." They're Reese's cups. And they could be my undoing.
But what do I make you?
Right.
No.
So I came home, and I had a tablespoon of organic sugar, no sugar added peanut butter, and I took a piece of 90% dark chocolate, and it tasted almost as good. And I knew what I was doing was actually fueling my body for good. So there's alternatives to what I'm saying.
Those Reese's Pieces cups, right? Yeah. So the fifth, so we
Number
talked
5.
about food allergies and keeping track of what you eat and how you feel, how cortisol and your stress level, managing that, and not eating sugar and refined carbs. We talked about acupressure for pain on your right side of your body is probably gallbladder and liver related. If you have old injuries, again, massage the other side, mirror image of your body to relieve pain in that area. And the fifth one is soft tissue calcium buildup. So what the heck is that? That's like when people say, I have arthritis, right? Or I have that crunchy neck, or I have some cartilage damage, and so there's calcium buildup. So there's 2 things that can really help with that, and that is K2 and D3. Vitamins. Now, you need good supplements. Did you know, you guys are going to just love this. Did you know that most supplements that you buy in the grocery store or the drugstore are filled with
filler,
stone, they're not they're just not very good. And so you do need, and I'm not a big you have to take a million supplement. If you're eating good nutrition, you don't have to take a lot of supplements. Sometimes people need them for other things that they're doing.
If you work long hours inside all day, you're not getting enough sunshine.
Right.
So you're
probably need to take vitamin
you might be
D.
vitamin D deficient. And I just read a report recently. There's 34 or 37, I forget, disorders that are directly related to vitamin D deficiency. So, if you find that's the case, and when you are going outside, you're sitting in a car, and you don't get outside at all in the direct sun, even for a few minutes, using sunblock and all those kind of things.
But 10 to 15 minutes of sunshine gives you a lot of vitamin D. So every day we do a wheatgrass drink. So we do fresh wheatgrass juice powder and electrolyte powder. We can post the products on the website for you. We do trace minerals because our soils are really depleted and we don't get those trace minerals, and they really are good for health. So they're just liquid. They don't taste like anything. We do plant healthy fats. Dr. Udo Erasmus, healthy. My mind's blank on what they're the omega
3, 6, and 9 balanced.
They're plant based. And then we do a pretty good dose of vitamin B, a complex. We do nutritional yeast, basically, and then I add
apple cider vinegar.
And I add lemon juice. Because
apple cider vinegar has a list of 100 things that it's really good for you.
But we don't have to, and then we do make sure we have enough magnesium. So if you are eating good nutrition, but sometimes when you're eating good nutrition, your digestive system has trouble. And so magnesium and potassium, those things and sodium will reduce any kind of leg cramps you might get, and also help you, with your digestive system, move in a healthy way every day. So on the soft tissue calcium buildup, K2 and D3 together slowly gets rid of that. And Dr. Berg suggests 100 micrograms and then 10,000 IUs. So that combination, but you can even go on his site and look at that, or Google for yourself kind of that combination. We are not nutritionists, dietitians, or doctors,
therapists, psychiatrists. We're none of those things.
Right, but we are coaches, and we've coached in business and in life and in church,
and we've been
in
nonprofits
for a long time.
And business owners and worked for other people and have coached lots of people over the years.
And so now we're just saying, hey, in addition to that, we're working on getting healthy every day. We're really serious about our body and our physical self being healthy and engaged and energetic, as well as our soul being healthy, which is, we define the soul as mind, will, and emotion. So how we think, how we react to things emotionally.
And then you keep your human spirit alive and connected with God, because that is His intent, and that is our purpose.
So this is a lot of information. You can listen to it again because we'll post it on both of our personal pages as well as Live Unshakable. But I would say if you were only going to do one thing this week, like just one of all these things we talked about, guess which one it is? Of all our 5 things that can cause inflammation, what is the one I would tell you I think will make the most dramatic impact right away?
Eat blueberries.
Well, that's a good one. So that's something you could add. What's something you could eliminate?
Sugar.
Sugar.
Just
Sugar.
start cutting back on the sugar.
You will notice such a difference. And don't kid yourself like, well, I can eat lots of honey and maple syrup and, agave. That's still sugar. The only sugars you could add that most people won't feel as bad at would be like stevia or monk fruit or erythritol, but you really need to limit those too.
That's right. I just
Those
compiled.
can be an issue for people as well. So a little bit
I just compiled a list of 64 names
for sugar.
of sugar that are used in marketing and used in the list of ingredients in food.
Are you going to post that?
I am.
Awesome.
I mean, it's incredible. And you start thinking about it, I was, I never knew that was sugar. And, I see that name, I can't even pronounce it. That's sugar too. And unfortunately, the government allows big corporations to do that. And so we're getting a lot of sugar pushed on us in processed food. It doesn't even show up with the name sugar. It has all these other names.
Okay, Laura, she says, cut back on my diet, Dr. Pepper. Stop drinking diet soda. Okay, I have a great alternative for you because it's so bad for you and it doesn't even help us lose weight. It actually sometimes triggers cravings.
That's right.
So there is a product called Zevia, Zevia. And they make a cola, they make a Dr. Pepper kind of drink or, flavor.
Yeah, they make ginger
ale, black cherry. Love the root beer. And it's flavored with stevia or stevia, however you want to pronounce it. And it's no artificial flavorings or no artificial colors. So you think you're pouring the root beer and it comes out clear because there's no icky additives in it.
And there's no coloring in it.
But it's really good.
It is. And it tastes almost identical.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little different. Like the cola I thought was but I love the ginger ale and the root beer. And you still get something fizzy. Here's another thing. Stevia actually makes flavored, like Coca-Cola and root beer. So you could buy club soda. And then you could flavor your club soda with the Dr. Pepper flavor and make your own soda without all those chemicals
They have
that are in
stevia,
diet drinks.
French vanilla
In your coffee.
that I use in my coffee.
Yeah. So hopefully these tips will help you because we want you to feel great for every day of your life, for all the days written in the book that God made for you, and for you to be blessed and for you to, pass this on. So go to Live Unshakable Facebook page. Our Facebook page is called Live Unshakable. Join that community and go to t30.liveunshakable.com and get the free stuff. And you might want to pay $7 and get the other stuff. And then next week,
join the challenge.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of day 12 for us again.
What is the challenge?
The challenge is identify one thing you want to add, change, delete from your life that will bring you more into personal integrity and alignment that is between your body, your soul, and your spirit, because they all should be in alignment. We are a triune nature person, just as we are connected with a triune nature God, and He has an incredible plan designed for your life that many of us are violating. And I think most of us were meant to live a long, full life and not live really great for the first 30, 40 years and then start getting, into all the old age uglies. It's not. You don't have to expect that. You don't have to submit to it if you take good care of yourself. So
And
we really want you to. So go on there, identify one thing, and start the challenge. And if you really, you want to go take a step further, go on our Facebook page and put down, hey, I'm joining the challenge, and this is what I'm doing for the next 30 days.
It's my goal. So it's your 30-day challenge,
That's right.
And so you can challenge yourself in all three of these areas, or one thing in each of these areas, or one area. And we're creating this community because honestly, most of the world doesn't live like this, and so it's way easier to do this together and to do it with people who are supportive and encouraging and sharing tips and recipes and life hacks and all of those kind of things than it is, we're creating all kinds of content around, like, how do I go out? How can I be social? What about having a drink? If I like to have a glass of wine or something like that. What do I do in a family situation? What do I do in a situation where none of the food looks like I can eat it? How do I plan? How do I do this for my family? How do I make it easy? Like, we're creating content, and our private membership group site on our private Facebook membership site starts next week. And so if you're really serious about jumping in and being part of that community and really living this with us, you might want to consider that. It's only going to be $27 a month, so it's
we're going to offer them a free month.
So you're going to get a free month, and you can cancel at any time. There's no contracts. I mean, we just want to make ourselves and the content available to encourage you and coach you and help you be living unshakably.
That's right.
To live unshakable. So
please join us to live unshakable, and go there, sign up, join the challenge,
and put on the Facebook page stuff that you want, like, hey, I want recipes, or I need more encouragement here. I'm in this situation, because that's what we're here to do. We're really spending a lot of time and effort. We do run a real estate business and company in the Denver, Colorado area, and this is our passion.
And we have a
well.
coaching business, and it's unique in that we use our horses as coaching partners.
We work with our horses.
Yep. So we live a full life and busy life just like you. But we have found and made time and space in our life to live a little bit differently.
Yeah, and I kind of dream about this, thinking about kind of the combination of what does it mean to live unshakable, and the work we do with our horses, and so you may see us doing some kind of live events or some kind of smaller group events where you can get individual attention and work with us and our horses in this whole realm of body, soul, and spirit advancement as well. So look for that, and we'd love to know your ideas about what would help you. So
love to be of help to you. Let us know how we can do that. We're going to sign off and look forward to seeing you again, and please live unshakable.
Yeah, have a great night. See y'all.